time when some might argue that miracles are few and far between. But don't tell that to Marija DAK. Good evening, I'm Linda Cavanaugh. A year ago today, this little girl faced the bleakest day of her life. But it would set in motion a chain of events that might just rekindle your faith in the human spirit, in love, in compassion, and perhaps even in miracles. Events that would make us realize that the best gifts are not those contained in boxes or wrapped in ribbons. Marija's story starts a year ago, December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas. Little did she know when she awoke that morning that her life was about to change forever. Hundreds of bombs fell on Bosnia that day. This is the story of one. A bomb that would leave a hole in the ground a dozen feet across, but whose impact would eventually be felt even in Oklahoma.
Where I lived was beautiful. I don't know why we started fighting. You can just see the war coming. Then I started feeling scared when the fighting came closer to us. We were hungry, there was starvation everywhere. One day we would eat and then we wouldn't eat for a long time. We prayed to God for Him to help us. We always thought that it would be better and better, but everything got worse and worse. I try not to think about it. Yeah, I lost a lot of friends. It was hard. Through my window I would see the graves. I would never forget it. There's a lot of definitions to war. You always feel scared.
War, through the eyes of 14-year-old Marija DAK. She saw the war move closer and closer. Her mother had a premonition of what was to come.
I always had a scary feeling in my heart. I was always praying that we would be safe and that nothing would happen to my family.
That morning, a fog gently blanketed her village. Marija and her father returned to their bombed-out home to look for food, the fog shielding them from snipers. But suddenly the fog lifted.
The fog went away. Then a neighbor came and told us we better get out because the snipers were coming closer. We started walking. I told my dad to hurry up because I heard something falling. I felt like electricity running through me. I called for my father for help. I said, Daddy. I don't have a father anymore.
Marija's father, Stipo, died at her side. His last words, goodbye.
There
was a housekeeper that came from a church, and she came to my house and she said, accept my condolence because your husband died and your daughter Marija lost her legs. I did not believe her.
Yes, I told my brother that I wanted to stand up. He told me I couldn't. I said I wanted to stand up. He told me I couldn't stand up because I don't have any more legs.
I want to go so badly to see Maria, but they wouldn't let me that night. They kept me at home. And the next day I went to see her. I just couldn't look at her legs. I just couldn't. And I was calling my husband, please come and see your daughter without legs. I was very confused.
Then they took me to a hospital. There was old and young people there injured. There were all kinds of people in that room.
And the shrapnel went in his leg.
Among the people in the hospital that day, Oklahoman Larry Jones from Feed the Children.
They took me to the children that had been shot, some by snipers, some had taken shells in the midsection, and then they took me to Maria. There was no way that you could prepare me for what I was getting ready to see. She lost both legs.
That's right.
And was anybody else with? And she lost her father. Now, was anybody else with them or nearby? And when I looked down at her, I could only think of my daughter and what would have happened had she lost her legs and I'd been gone when she was 14 years old.
The UN arranged for Maria to be part of a medical evacuation, to be taken out of the bullet-scarred remnants of her once beautiful homeland. She was flown to Italy. It was there that Feed the Children contacted her about the possibility of coming to Oklahoma for artificial legs. Don Richardson, in the center, offered to bring Maria, her mother, and 3 of her sisters. They were frightened.
In America, the children were so scared. I was scared because I was so far away, way across the world.
You know, and I told them what I was there for. Maria started crying. 2 of the little girls went over and got in the corner. The mother started crying and talking real fast to the interpreter I had.
Some woman in Italy told us, where are you going with that man? He might just take you to America and leave you in the street, and you would live on the street all by yourselves. That really scared us a lot.
But one of Maria's sisters remembered the story of a young Ted Kennedy Jr. being fitted with an artificial leg at Oklahoma City's Sabelich Center. The decision was made to come to a land where the only thing greater than their fear was their hope.
When I first saw it, I couldn't believe it. All those cameras just for one girl. I'm just an ordinary little girl from Bosnia.
With her mother and 3 of her sisters so far from home, so far from the land where she had prayed from her hospital bed for a miracle, that she would one day walk again.
Since she lost her legs, she never lost the dream that somehow, some way, the miracle will appear so she will be able to walk again. And now when the miracle is so close that she doesn't know how to absorb all that, and her heart is so overwhelmed that she can't wait just to feel, maybe just, you know, to step or take a step.